Saturday. And if you've ever been to a Trump rally this election season, you have probably heard a song by this man. It's iconic. The song, Hold On, I'm Coming.
And the family of the artist behind the hit is suing the Trump campaign, claiming they did not have a license to play it. And a federal judge backed them in downtown Atlanta today. Atlanta News first political reporter Doug Reardon was there in court. So, Doug, Trump isn't supposed to be playing this song at his rallies anymore.
At least until this lawsuit ends, Trump has used that song at many of his rallies, including the one here in Atlanta. And after the Republican National Convention speech he gave, all without the proper licensing, the judge said. The family called it a painful experience and is now suing the campaign for millions of dollars.
It's made very clear, don't play Isaac Hayes' music songs anymore.
Isaac Hayes III, whose father wrote the 1966 hit song Hold On, I'm Coming, says a federal judge's ruling barring Donald Trump from playing the R&B classic at his rallies is a win for his entire family.
I've never wanted this song to be associated with Donald Trump in the manner that he was using it.
The ruling, at least for now, finds that Trump and his campaign didn't have the proper licensing to use the song at rallies.
Thank you.
Even after his wildly televised address at the Republican National Convention.
Mr. Hayes and his family stood up for the rights and legacy of his father, and a message was sent from a federal judge. Right. You must stop using these works without a license.
Tuesday's decision was what's called an injunction, barring Trump from using the song while the lawsuit over damages plays out. The Hayes family says the more Trump uses the tune, the more it gets politicized, tainting other brand deals they could use the song for. Because of that, and the up to $150,000 fines per illegal use, they're seeking millions from Trump.
Well, the judge, I think, was very deliberate, very careful, very thoughtful.
Trump's attorney said on Tuesday that they believe they had the right to use that song as political candidates, but said they would stick to the judge's order during the lawsuit.
The campaign has no interest in annoying or hurting anyone, and if the Hayes family feels that it hurts or annoys them, that's fine. We're not going to force the issue.
The Trump campaign did receive a partial victory from the judge today. He ruled that any videos the Trump campaign has posted online featuring the song in the background can stay up. It'll be months before this is back in court. From downtown Atlanta, Doug Reardon, Atlanta News First.